A pleasure to meet y'all at last, and welcome back to Nerf Secrets Revealed. Now here we are in part 4 of 6 of this 6-part episode that I'm going to be airing just to try to keep up with all the Nerf Secrets Revealed stuff that I have to catch up on. Because after all, April 28th of 2019 was the original due date that I had planned to have all of my Nerf Secrets Revealed episodes uploaded by that time. But unfortunately, it probably will most likely not happen according to plan, but I can always change the due date and give myself some extra time if I have to. But for now, this subject that I want to bring up here is about all the modifications and such that we've had on many different Nerf blasters that we've had over the course of 20 years. Now, Nerf itself has already become famous for blaster design in cooperation with different aspects in terms of performance, design, weight handling, and magazine capacity, and not to mention any of the kind of darts that they would come with. But it's not always that you're going to expect the Nerf blaster to handle the way you want it to handle it. So that's where modifications would set in. And in terms of modifying a Nerf blaster, it seems to be quite a bit of an internet craze, an internet sensation that we have had over the course of 10 years. And since we've had modified Nerf blasters come in left and right, according to such Nerf YouTubers and people on Twitter and otherwise, we've had a fair share of experience based on modifications that have been taught to us, or modifications that have been shown in articles, or modifications that we have just known because certain other YouTubers have managed to do it. Lord Draconical, I've talked about Lord Draconical a lot of times, but Drac has done lots of modification work over the last 10 years. And Drac is like a real big professional at it. So it seems to be that Drac and Thalassa just won't stop at anything just to be as entertaining as possible, to show off many different custom creations, just to be a big YouTuber out there in the Nerf community. But now, with other people out there that we've had, with custom works done by other people out there on YouTube, with people including PDK Films, Nerf Boy Productions, and many more. Even I've had myself a few times in which that I've modified Nerf blasters, but I feel like that by now, with certain Nerf blasters out there becoming modified for specific reasons, or just because, it's just safe to say now that Nerf itself has had themselves a big share of Nerf blasters that have been dealt with just for modification purposes. And N-Strike blasters, Elite blasters, Zombie Strike blasters, Mega blasters, it really doesn't matter what the lineup is in terms of which blaster needs to be modified or which blaster we want to modify, because we've had blasters come in left and right with different modifications and different custom-made styles that would fit our needs. And some of my biggest modification projects goes to a few N-Strike blasters. That's about it, because I tend to just leave everything how it is by now. So some blasters that I have managed to get modifications to include Centurion, Long Strike, the Reflex, and even the Night Finder, because many of these blasters around, they've just given us a lot of opportunity to try to work with, and they've also given us the time to learn about different mechanical aspects that would be used to characterize a blaster's function. And with all of that being said, I do hope that it's going to be a heck of a journey that we're going to have from here on out. And I have really no plans to just go right ahead and continue on with any kind of Nerf modifications to any kind of blasters that I have, but it's just all the same, really. Some people out there would want to modify their blasters for fun. Some people would want to do it for practical purposes. Some people would want to do it for a certain event of theirs. Some people would end up modifying their blasters to try to make them look different besides any other blasters they have. And some people, well, let's just say some people have had modifications that had really been enough to punch holes in the wall. And we've had some people out there, especially Coop from Coop 772, of which that Coop has showed us several blasters that were sold on a now defunct website, which certainly showed us how powerful certain blaster functions are, especially when it came to certain blasters that would fire darts so hard that they could end up punching holes in the drywall. And of course, they might not all be safe, but it's just safe to say now that modifications sometimes have become a bit dangerous, and some companies out there are in fact trying to be as sensitive as possible, trying to steer clear of anybody who want to start modifying their blasters for any purpose whatsoever. Fact is, there are labels on the sides of many blasters by today's standards that do say, do not modify darts or dart blaster. But people of course break these rules most of the time to try to modify their blasters for any purpose whatsoever. And I've only modified a few blasters in my life, so I've learned how to stop and just no longer do it. So you may not ever be seeing me with any other kind of modified blasters out there. So that's just the end of that part, because I know that I'm obeyed by the rules. And so I feel like that anything that comes here now is just really going to be about safety. And that is of course the reason why Nerf is indeed trying to become as sensitive as possible, how modification is just going to become very dangerous at some point. There's also labels that do tell us to not shoot at the eyes or face, and even though we do have such thing as eye or face protection, including glasses and face masks, especially the kind of goggles and the like, they're not always going to protect us from any flying objects of any sorts. Any projectiles that can get fired from a blaster, and then eventually it could lead to injury. Paintballs, airsoft guns, and exploders do have themselves a fair share of injury reports that state how dangerous certain toys can be. But not always are we going to end up steering clear from that. Not at all, to be exact. Because we live in a much more complex society where any laws would matter and anything at all goes. So we got ourselves a good time around here from here on out. 2019 and onward, through the 2020s, 2030s, and many other times in which that we will be crossing before we surely meet our doom. So I feel like with all that being said, I do hope that you still enjoy Nerf Secret Reveal, whether I do continue to tell the darkest of stories whatsoever. And if you want to see more, go down to my channel, make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, follow me on social media, and stay on the Hollywood side.